Have you ever felt like you're just a user in someone else's system? Well, today we are diving into a really wild idea from the Avatapsika Sutra. It suggests that the final goal isn't just to understand reality, but to actually become its core operating system. Let's take a look at how this ancient text can be read as, well, the ultimate system admin manual.
So this quote right here is the central idea that kind of flips everything on its head. Now, you usually think of a bodhisattva as someone who's on the path to enlightenment, right? But this text just challenges that whole passive image. The end goal here isn't some state of personal bliss. It's something way more active, way more functional. It's not about escaping the system, it's about becoming the very engine that runs it. So the journey described here really has two major stages. The first part is all about seeing the system, getting the full picture of how reality works. But that final step, the ultimate upgrade, is about becoming and then running that system. It's a total shift from being a user to being the admin, from just an observer to the actual operator. And the text has a name for this final stage, the Dharma Realm Operating Engine. Think of it less like a state of being and more like a job title. This is the point where you stop being a passive user, with reality just happening to you, and instead you become an active part of the fundamental code that makes reality happen in the first place.
Okay, but if this upgrade is so powerful, why doesn't everybody just do it? Well, according to the sutra, it's not really an issue of knowledge or even effort, it's an issue of permissions. See, a lot of people get stuck because they simply don't have the right access key to even start the final upgrade.
So let's break this down. Access denied versus access granted. You get access denied when your mindset is too small, when you get attached to these little insights or small wins. Basically, you have low system permissions. To get access, the text says you need three things. You have to make these great vows to set a huge long-term direction. You need to seek out high-level guidance, and most importantly, you have to establish what it calls the faith root.
And this faith root, this is the most critical piece of the puzzle. It's not about blind belief. You should think of it like the master password that grants you administrator access. Without it, everything else you do is just blocked at the login screen. And this faith isn't in some deity. It's a fundamental deep-seated belief in your own capacity to run a much, much larger system.
So once you get that access, a really profound internal change starts to happen. The source material talks about this practitioner, Sudana, and he goes through this massive expansion of his mental capacity. He's basically upgrading his mind from a single user app to a universe-scale operating system.
The first upgrade is getting the vast mind. This is a mentality that's as boundless and empty as space itself. It's capable of holding absolutely everything, every single idea, every being, every world without getting overwhelmed. It's like having the baseline RAM you need to process the entire system.
All right, the next level is the unhindered mind. Now, this isn't just about storage capacity, this is about reach. This is a mind that can just permeate all directions, all realms, all concepts with zero obstruction. It's like having a flawless, high-speed network connection to every single corner of reality. Building on top of that, you have the great compassion mind. This is what orients the whole system. It's a mind whose core function, its prime directive, is to encompass and serve all living beings. And it's not some passive feeling of pity. It's an active, driving force to help everything in the system reach its full potential. And finally, all of this leads to the Dharma Realm mind. This is the state where the line between your mind and the system itself just dissolves. Your consciousness becomes boundless, completely integrated with the very fabric of reality. You are no longer a user running on the OS, you are the OS. So this brings us to a figure named Samantabhadra. The text presents him not as a deity you're supposed to worship, but as the living, breathing personification of the universe's execution layer. He is the system in action, the engine running. He's basically showing us how all of this works. Now, this quote from the sutra really captures the nature of the system. It's not linear, it's not bound by our normal ideas of space and time. It's suggesting a reality where the macro and the micro are totally interconnected, where scale is relative and everything is accessible from everywhere. But what does that actually mean? The best modern analogy we have for this idea is a fractal. In a fractal pattern, any tiny little piece of it contains the complexity of the entire shape. Well, the text is saying the universe is structured the exact same way. The part reflects the whole. The entire system's code is embedded in every single node. And this is Sudana's big aha moment. He doesn't just see the system, he sees himself inside it as a functioning piece of it.
He realizes he's not some external observer looking at Samatabhadra from the outside. No, he is a part of that universal engine operating inside the whole thing.
So what's the takeaway for us? The sutra's message is that our role isn't just to sit back and watch the show. We are, right now, a functioning piece of reality's operating code. The only difference is whether we're aware of that function and actively participating in it, or if we're just kind of running on default settings.
Okay, so this is all really fascinating philosophy, but what's the user manual, right? How can we actually apply this stuff right now? Well, the source material actually breaks all these ideas down into a practical guide for what it calls system-level living.
All right, here are the 8 guidelines for becoming an operator. First off, build a system-level belief. That's a deep conviction that you can handle a larger structure. Second, aim for infinite growth, not just small wins. Don't get stuck patting yourself on the back for minor stuff. Third, get into an always-on mode of contribution. This is a constant state, not something you do now and then. Fourth, prioritize your function over your identity. Be flexible, focus on what needs to get done. Fifth, set up a long-term mission, your core directive that guides everything. Sixth, see the world as a manifestation, not something fixed. This stops you from getting bogged down. Seventh, connect with high cognition networks. Surround yourself with the best people and the best information. And finally, number 8, focus on creating value that helps others awaken. Because remember, the engine's purpose is to upgrade the entire system, not just itself.
In all of this, really, it all brings us down to one simple question to ask yourself every single day. Today, am I just experiencing the world, or am I actively influencing the world? That entire shift, from user to operator, it all begins with how you answer that one question.